The movie opens with a heart-wrenching scene at the beach, where the protagonist, Darby, and her cheerleader mother are enjoying a day of swimming. Tragically, both Darby and her mother end up drowning. While Darby is miraculously revived, her mother sadly does not survive. Following this near-death experience, Darby discovers she has acquired an extraordinary ability. She can now see and communicate with the deceased. This new skill reveals to her that these spirits are trapped due to unfinished business on Earth, preventing them from moving on to the afterlife. Darby takes it upon herself to help these souls, dedicating her Friday nights to acting as a secret spiritual messenger, aiding them in resolving their earthly issues. Attending high school is a struggle for Darby. Her father encourages her to be more sociable, but Darby has a different outlook on life. She believes that true fulfillment comes from self-discovery rather than schooling. Among the spirits she befriends is a man named Gary, who provides companionship in her unique life. In contrast, Capricorn and her friends are the head of high school popularity. Darby harbors a strong dislike for Capricorn, who is currently dating James, one of the most attractive boys in school. Capricorn's interest in James only sparked after his appearance on a music TV show. Though he didn't win or even qualify, his brief appearance on television was enough to capture Capricorn's attention. In biology class, students are paired up for lab work based on the alphabetical order of their last names. This arrangement leads to Darby Harper being partnered with James Harris. Capricorn, attempting to assert her dominance, tries to take Darby's seat next to James, but Darby stands her ground. The teacher intervenes, instructing Capricorn to return to her assigned seat, which infuriates Capricorn. To Darby's surprise, James apologizes for Capricorn's behavior. Reflecting on this, Darby recalls her old crush on James and recognizes that he may actually be a genuinely good person, contrary to her initial judgments. Soon after, Darby's unique life as someone who can communicate with the dead is further explored. She spends her time playing chess with Gary, a stayer who chose to remain in the earthly realm after his death. Gary is waiting for his wife, Linda, to pass away so they can move to the afterlife together. During lunch at school, Darby is approached by a boy she initially mistakes for a ghost, but soon realizes he's actually alive. Feeling awkward, she hastily ends the conversation. The school principal then introduces this new student, Alex, to Darby and asks her to help him with his studies and befriend him. Although Alex shows interest in Darby's activities, she is hesitant and brushes off his invitation to hang out. Later, in the restroom, Darby finds her clothes missing and immediately knows Capricorn is responsible. After confronting Capricorn and retrieving her clothes, a mishap occurs. Capricorn accidentally drops her hair straightener into water, leading to an electric shock that tragically results in her death. That night, Darby is startled awake by the ghost of Capricorn, who has learned about Darby's ability to see the dead from Gary. Capricorn pleads with Darby to bring her back to life, but Darby explains she can only help ghosts move on. Capricorn is adamant about staying, unwilling to miss her upcoming 16th birthday and the party she had planned. The following day, Capricorn observes her friends giving an interview about her death and upcoming birthday. Frustrated by their choice of photo for her memorial, Capricorn uses her ghostly energy to knock it down. At school, Darby hears students discussing Capricorn's death. Gary introduces Darby to another recent ghost, Mel, who seeks Darby's assistance in moving on. Darby's day becomes more complicated when she meets a girl she initially confuses for Capricorn. While talking to Alex, the real ghost Capricorn appears, leading Darby to abruptly end the conversation. Capricorn insists on Darby helping to ensure her birthday party happens post-mortem. Darby refuses, but Capricorn threatens to cause chaos in the physical world if her demands are not met. In biology class, Capricorn's threats escalate when she makes a dead frog move, causing a disturbance. Darby, under pressure, agrees to Capricorn's plan. Capricorn instructs Darby to befriend Taylor and Bree and convince them to throw her a birthday party. Capricorn also suggests that Darby join the cheerleading team to get closer to them. Reflecting on their past friendship, Capricorn reminds Darby of a time when they were closer, before Darby's behavior changed following her mother's death. Darby explains her childhood was difficult due to her mother's passing and her newfound ability to see the dead. Capricorn, determined to give Darby a makeover, finds her mother's clothes and changes Darby's appearance. She teaches Darby the contemporary meanings of emojis in texting, aiming to make her more socially adept. After a while, Darby's life takes an eventful turn, beginning with a visit to James's house. She needs to give him some school notes, and upon entering his room, they find James singing. James is noticeably surprised by Darby's new appearance, and they briefly talk about Capricorn and Darby's mother. James expresses his gratitude to Darby for bringing his notes. The next day, Darby wakes up to find new clothes waiting for her. She gets dressed and encounters her father before heading to school. Her transformation does not go unnoticed. Her schoolmates compliment her new look. During lunch break, Darby attempts to sit with Alex, but Capricorn intervenes, insisting that Darby join her group instead. Gary, Mel, and Capricorn then approach Darby, with Gary suggesting that Darby should make new friends. Capricorn pressures Darby to follow her plan, even resorting to throwing a frog at her face when she initially refuses. Darby, reluctantly, agrees to go along with Capricorn's plan, which includes training for cheerleading tryouts. Darby's efforts pay off as she gets selected as a cheerleader. She also discovers that Alex supports the team as the mascot, dressed in a donut costume. The cheerleading team's dynamics shift when Darby helps Taylor by giving her a misplaced tampon, a move orchestrated by Capricorn. The girls start to warm up to Darby, inviting her to practice and later to hang out. Capricorn encourages Darby to propose throwing a 17th birthday party in her honor, convincing the girls that it would boost their social media following and raise awareness about accidental electrocution. Darby quickly becomes popular, impressing everyone with her cheerleading performance. Her growing friendship with Alex also turns romantic, as he asks her out on a date. Capricorn, however, starts feeling sidelined as Darby gains popularity, and the birthday party planning begins to focus more on Darby than Capricorn. Darby reassures Capricorn that the party is still in her honor. Meanwhile, Gary reminds Darby of her duty to help Mel convey a message to his son. Darby schedules to meet with the deceased on Friday night to assist Mel. Amidst these developments, Darby's father expresses concern about the changes in her behavior. Darby reassures him that she's just trying to be the social person he wanted her to be, but he remains unconvinced. A visit to James leads to a discovery of her pictures in his photo album, revealing that James had feelings for her. James, struggling with Capricorn's absence, asks Darby to accompany him to school, which she awkwardly agrees to. Their arrival at school together causes a stir, with James even holding Darby's hand publicly. This leads Taylor and the girls to question Darby about dating James, which she denies. James offers to drive her home, but Darby declines and leaves on her own. Later, she realizes she has a meeting with Alex, but by the time she arrives, he has already left. The storyline takes a turn as Gary and Mel enlighten Capricorn about the positive impact she has had on Darby. They explain that Capricorn's actions, though unintended, have helped Darby emerge from her introverted, dark shell, prompting a significant change in her. Meanwhile, Darby attempts to apologize to Alex, but he, under the misconception that Darby is romantically involved with James, abruptly leaves the conversation. In a surprising turn, Capricorn pulls Darby aside to offer her own apology for her previous behavior. However, their conversation is interrupted when James approaches and embraces Darby, an act that infuriates Capricorn. James speaks affectionately of the time he spent with Darby, but Capricorn misinterprets his sentiments, growing even more agitated with Darby. Despite Darby's efforts to clarify that there is nothing romantic between her and James, Capricorn lashes out with harsh words, accusing Darby of being obsessed with both her and James. The confrontation escalates as Capricorn cruelly remarks that even Darby's mother, who passed away, did not come to see her. Angered and hurt, Darby dismisses Mel and the others, wanting to be alone. Capricorn spitefully warns Darby against attending her birthday party, but Darby defiantly asserts her intention to go. The next day, Gary visits Darby, who expresses her desire to live a normal life, free from the burden of communicating with the dead. Gary tries to make her see the uniqueness and special nature of her abilities, but Darby dismisses his words, declaring that she is not friends with Capricorn and that Capricorn merely used her. She also harshly criticizes Gary, calling him a cowardly stayer who lacks the courage to move on, leaving Gary saddened by her words. Later, James seeks out Darby for a drive, during which he confesses his belief that Capricorn is trying to communicate with him. He also admits that he is not ready for a new relationship, as he is still mourning Capricorn and wishes to remain just friends with Darby. They arrive at Capricorn's birthday party, where Taylor and her friends reveal that the party was Darby's idea. Shocked and upset, James leaves the party, and Darby follows, only to encounter Alex. Alex, feeling out of place in Darby's new popular circle, distances himself. At the party, Darby finds James attempting to communicate with Capricorn through a board game. Darby tries to intervene, but Capricorn's ghost appears, challenging Darby to publicly admit her ability to see and communicate with the dead. As Capricorn manipulates the board game in midair, James questions Darby about her supernatural abilities. Feeling cornered and overwhelmed, Darby confesses her secret on stage, declaring that she is merely a puppet driven by Capricorn's ghostly influence. After her emotional revelation, Darby exits the party, leaving behind a stunned crowd and a complex web of relationships in disarray. Feeling overwhelmed by the recent turn of events, Darby decides to return to her old self. She packs away her mother's clothes and photos, reverting to her previous style of dressing. At school, rumors spread, suggesting that her public admission at the party was a pre-planned act. Within a month, Darby transitions from being the most popular girl to facing social isolation. She even stops communicating with Gary, her spiritual confidant. One day, while reflecting on a childhood photo with Capricorn, Darby is surprised when Capricorn's ghost appears. Capricorn apologizes for her past actions and expresses her concerns about James still missing her. Darby shares her unfulfilled feelings for Alex and reveals that she has found her mother's ghost. In an emotional encounter, Darby's mother explains that she couldn't move on because she wanted to ensure Darby's well-being and her ability to connect with others. Her mother's presence signifies her unfinished business. Darby then assures Capricorn that she will look after James. Acknowledging Darby as the coolest person she knows, Capricorn bids farewell and moves on to the afterlife. Darby finds comfort in her friendship with James and continues cheerleading, feeling connected to both her mother and Capricorn. Darby later reconciles with Gary, apologizing for her previous behavior. Gary forgives her and shares that with his wife Linda, implying that they will soon reunite and move on together. Darby feels guilty for not helping Mel, but Gary informs her that Alex helped him instead. To Darby's surprise, she learns that Alex can also see and interact with the dead. Alex explains that a car accident gave him this unusual ability. Darby invites Alex to join her in assisting the dead, and they agree to go on a date. She also resumes her friendship with her cheerleader peers. In a heartfelt conversation with her father, Darby opens up about her recent experiences and discusses her late mother. They watch old family videos together, reliving cherished memories. During this moment, Darby notices her mother's spirit watching them with a smile, before she peacefully moves on to the afterlife. As time passes, Darby and Alex continue their Friday night endeavors to help the dead, now as a couple, embracing their unique roles as intermediaries for the dead while forging their own path forward together. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.